Hey everyone, welcome back to the Nello Reads channel. Our first Tales from Tech Support story of the day comes from Zathra's Not the One. VP tells me I think the motherboard is fried. The computer won't turn on. Many years ago, I got a call from a vice president of my company who said her computer wouldn't turn on. She had spoken to one of our programmers who told her that it's probably the motherboard. So I went to the user's desk and confirmed that if you press the power button, her computer would not turn on. "It's the motherboard, isn't it?" she said. I told her, give me 10 minutes to check something. I'm going to take it with me and I'll be right back. 5 minutes later, I came back, connected all of the plugs, and powered it up. Wow, that was fast. You were able to replace the motherboard that quickly? No, your power button was broken. Now it's all fixed. Have a great day. That was a shorter story than I'd usually read, but I thought it was funny. Thanks for the laugh, OP. Our next story comes from Echo Mirage, who is on call for IT. I'm typing this on a desktop with a full keyboard, so I expect you to judge my spelling and formatting harshly. I'm not IT, but I am one of those unofficial go-to guys at work because I'm good with technology. I'm a registered nurse who used to work the night shift. If the IT guys actually knew how many middle-of-the-night calls I stopped people from making, they'd buy me a pizza or something. You know they're on call, so I should call them, even though the solution is a reboot 99% of the time. It took us a long time to break people of that habit. Now they won't call someone in the middle of the night unless it's truly important and prevents them from doing their job. One such situation was about 1:30 a.m. I wasn't called over, I just happened to be walking by the nurse's station and overheard someone ask, "Who is on call for IT? What's the problem?" "I can't get this computer to turn on. When I push the power button, the screen stays black." A quick glance to the tower to see if the front power button was lit, and the problem was obvious. Well, it probably won't turn on because there's no computer there. The space on the desk just to the right of the monitor, where the tower had always resided, is bare, save for the unplugged ends of several cables. Oh. This one was oddly similar to the first one. I didn't notice when I picked them out, but I chose to keep it in because I thought it was pretty funny. Our next one comes from Outsiders. Save your work, the server's on fire. Many years ago, pre my IT days, I was doing a business administration course, and one day someone I didn't really know popped their head around the door and said, "Save your work, the server's on fire." Oddly enough, as the only person who saved their work to a floppy disk in the 90-odd seconds before the fire alarm went off, when we returned a few days later, I was the only person who still had the data from that day. The guy who A, told us to save the work to something that was on fire, and B, didn't bother with minor little details like the fire alarm, was nowhere to be seen. Yes, in retrospect, we obviously should have just got out and not saved anything, but particularly when you're younger and less cynical, if you're told there's an emergency and to do something quickly, you just do it. And even when I thought about it, I thought it would either be a remote server, rare as they were for small places in the 90s, or at least in an outbuilding. Nope. He went and told people to do something extra at their desks while the computer and, rapidly, the building was on fire. That's pretty horrible, but also kind of hilarious. The guy is like, "Oh god, everybody save your work." Meanwhile, the thing they're saving it to is on fire. Nice call, random guy. Our next story of the day is from B-Wave1. I'm allergic to chemicals. You're going to buy me a new computer. This memory popped into my head this morning. I used to run a computer repair shop. One of the standard operating procedures was, of course, to dust out the computer fans with compressed air. We also ran down the entire repair manifest with the customer at pickup time. This eliminated the, "Well, you never told me you," or "Why is it $85 when all you had to do was..." So we told the specific customer we tested all of the output voltages, dusted the system fans, and at which point she exploded. "You did what? You used chemicals on my computer?" "No, ma'am, we dusted out your computer." "With chemicals?" "No, ma'am, we have an air compressor in the back. It has a moisture dryer on it and is piped to all of the workbenches. It's just compressed air." "But it's a machine, so it puts chemicals into the air, and I'm allergic to chemicals." "Ma'am, no. I assure you any traces of chemicals would have long dissipated if that were even possible. "You're going to buy me a new computer. This is outrageous. No one told you to spray chemicals on my computer." Ma'am, let me get this straight. You want us to buy you a new computer, of which the parts are made in China, with all sorts of chemicals used in the manufacturing process to give to you. Well, she huffed and puffed and stormed out. And this is how, after 22 years of retail service, I just can't deal with customer service anymore. I've got to say, customer service people are absolute legends. I can get grumpy when I see a mean YouTube comment, so I could not deal with half the stuff they have to deal with every day. The next story comes from Amoridin, customer demanding higher ping for their games. I work for a large ISP in the United States. We work on anything residential, but also offer technical support for small businesses and enterprises. This happened about a year ago. I work in the chat department and got a chat. There was a guy who chatted in and gave his details. He stated he was having speed issues. I looked at his modem, everything looked fine. So we decided to run a speed test. The speed test was indicating he was getting great speed and had a ping of 10. With modems, any ping from 5 to 50 is considered great. He then proceeded to tell me he lagged a lot in his online games. He was hardwired from his Xbox into the modem. We ran speed tests on the Xbox as well, and it was showing very similar numbers to what we were getting with his PC. I told him there shouldn't be an issue, and he should try rebooting the Xbox or taking it to Microsoft, since it's a third-party device and is part of our demarcations for obvious reasons. He was convinced it was our connection that was the issue and not his Xbox, and wanted higher ping. I explained to him what higher ping would do, and that it would actually make the lag worse, but he didn't believe it and was going off what his friends were telling him. He then threatened to leave the company if he didn't get higher ping. So I asked if he wanted to be on a lower plan that could make his ping higher. He said yes. We got him from 250 Mbps download / 10 Mbps upload to 50 Mbps download and 5 Mbps upload. We tested his connection and there was a higher ping due to the amount of devices connected. He thanks me and tells me I should get a raise and hang up. To this day, I still check up on that account every month or so, and he has yet to change his speed back to the speed he had before. I guess all he wanted was higher ping after all. I've gotta say, that story's just kinda weird. I don't know why the guy would want higher ping. I know it can be beneficial in some cases, but I don't really get it. But hey, I mean, I guess it worked for him and he's on a cheaper plan now, so good on that guy. Our next story of the day is from Claire Bunny 1988. How a hollow point solved the problem, when a manager uses cowboy law to get a new server. I work for a company that supplies point-of-sale hardware, software, networks, basically the works to grocery stores all over America. I've been here for just under a decade, and boy do I love my job. I am on the support side of the business. Essentially, I deal with warranties. This story happened fairly early on. We had this one customer, a small-time independent grocery store chain with maybe 3 stores and a tight budget. They were on a contract that didn't include upgrades to their hardware and were still rocking Windows XP servers with at most 2 GB of RAM. We had been having issues on the regular with one store where their poor little engine that almost could would lock up running batches on their inventory for price management, and the manager was fed up with the situation. His main file server would lock up, he would call us, we would band-aid it and recommend to the owners of the company that they needed to have a beefier boy installed. They would deny every time. So after about day umpteen million and 3 of this repeat issue, and the manager begging us and his bosses for a hardware upgrade, I get an automated alert that his server was offline again. Well, he's probably just rebooting it because it's frozen, I think. Boy, was I wrong. I call the store, and the manager answers with an audible grin so wide I can practically get a tan from all that radiating smugness. "Hey manager, this is OP from company. I'm calling because your server is showing offline for us. Do you have a few minutes?" "Oh buddy, I'm glad you called. You're going to have to schedule a tech out here to get this server replaced." "Well, you know we need owner approval for that, but if you could just..." "Emergencies are covered under contract, right?" Yes, sir?" "And I can assure you that nothing you or I can do from where we are at will get this server back online. So, this is an emergency, correct?" Fair enough, sir. I'll get someone out there ASAP. So I dispatch a tech, and as luck would have it, he was already in the area, just coming off working on another store. I get him to go take a look, and he calls me about an hour later. The tech, asking for me specifically, "Hey OP, can you schedule another dispatch for this store emergency to get their new server authorized?" "Yeah, I can start the process, but you know how these owners have been about buying new hardware. Yeah, that's not going to be a problem this time." "What happened? Can we try to get the server back online?" "That's not gonna happen there, bud. Calling it a catastrophic hardware failure over here. I'll send you a pic." The tech sent my work email a picture, and what I saw was a computer case that had a little hole on one side and a substantially larger hole on the other side. Opened up, the case revealed a penetrated hard drive and shredded motherboard. Manager got his new computer. Stories like this always make me wonder, did the manager ever get fired? Or were his owners just like cool with that because they knew they probably needed a new one anyway? I guess we'll never know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's stories, and I'll see you in the next one.